Okay. Hello everyone and welcome to a wet and windy Brands Hatch as winter really starts to set in here in the United Kingdom for round 4 of season 8 of the Apex Online Racing League PS4 GT3 Elite League on Project Cars 2. We are halfway through this season and it's Sisavuma who leads the way by just 7 points from Kunjanix. I'm Callum Byrne, I'll be your commentator for this evening with your cameraman Matt Cooley. So, Brands Hatch, we're located in West Kingston in Kent. This track is just a 2.4 mile, 9-turn thrill ride, which in these conditions is going to see some exceptional driving from our 16 gladiators. The track has hosted a vast majority of events from Formula 1 to the GT3 cars we are going to see today. And Brands Hatch is also the home for 3 of our drivers tonight, Cryptic, Carl W 1986 and Carl Fogarty. And all of them will do battle to be the best Brit. Cryptic is also in the championship hunt, so as being 9 points behind Sisavuma, he's also 2 points behind Kunjanix. And when the checkered flag falls, we'll only have 2 races left of season 8. So, slight difference to qualifying this week because it is raining here at Brands Hatch. So qualifying tonight is going to be 20 minutes long. However, and it makes it even more fun for me, the first 5 minutes all cars are to remain in the pit lane because there is worries about a glitch in Project Cars when it comes to wet qualifying where the first people who go out onto the track they have a slightly drier track with a time delta of up to 2 seconds, and therefore the grid would not be representative. So everybody is to remain in the pit lane until 15 minutes are left in the qualifying session. The race will be 40 laps. That's 1 formation lap and then 39 racing laps. So while we wait for the time being, so we've got a 20-minute qualifying session, but we're not going to see any cars for a while. It's like watching Formula 1. The cars don't go out when it rains. So while we wait, we'll just run through who is in what car and what driver number they are. If this is your first race that you're watching with us, it will just help you out just a little bit to know who is who, even though it does tell you at the top of the screen who we are currently watching, which is C. Fogarty at the moment. So we've got Nick Nitro in the McLaren 650S. He will be in car number 6. Danny V. Dima, who you can currently see on screen, he's in the Ferrari 488 GT3. He's car number 53. Fogarty, we just saw him. He's in the Audi R8 LMS Endurance. He's car number 6. Jammy 21 is in the same R8 LMS Endurance. He's in car number 4. CJ BMX 702, last week's race winner. He's in the Ferrari 488 GT3. He's car number 72. Sisavuma, the championship leader, is also in the Ferrari 488 GT3. He's car number 61. Phoenix, again in the 488 GT3. He's car number 31. Walgren is in the Audi LMS Endurance, car number 82. Bear Takio is in the Audi LMS GT3. He's car number 28. Devon Boer, he's in the Audi R8 LMS GT3, car number 4. Carl W 1986 is in the Ferrari 488 GT3, car number 72. Golota is in the Ferrari as well, car number 55. This is where it's going to get a bit confusing because Javier is in the same car. Literally, he's in the Ferrari 488 GT3, the Kaspersky Motorsport car number 55. So those two, the only way we can work them out is by the name on the screen. And then we've just got 4 more drivers to go. So Cryptic, As we said, home race for him. One of the 3 drivers celebrating their home race here at Brands Hatch. He's in the Audi R8 LMS Endurance car number 29. Holtzman's in the Ferrari car number 63. Sapo, who I believe is not here tonight. He would usually be in the R8 LMS Endurance of car number 28. And to round us out, Kung Jarnix in the McLaren 650S, car number 37. And it looks like we've filled for long enough because we have cars onto the racetrack and they're all flying out of the pit lane at the moment. We are currently watching CJB MX 702 pole and race win last time out in Portugal. Pole at Imola, front row start at Spa-Francorchamps, although he's only got 1 finish to his name out of the 3 races so far. But we can confirm every time he finishes a race this season, he has won it. So that's a good stat, despite the fact we've only had 3 races. So, they're all on the outlaps at the moment. It looks like the last car is about to leave the pit exit. Sadly, the one annoying thing we have with Project Cars too is that it doesn't give us the live lap delta, so we can't see what their qualifying time is. But with them all going out at the same point, we are easily going to know, at least for the start of this qualifying session, who is on an out lap and who is on a hot lap. So, also, if you're watching the stream at the moment, you've got the live chat there. Leave your comments throughout the qualifying and the race. Who's going to be a prediction for pole? Who's going to be a prediction for our race winner? And we might shout a couple of them out as well. Right, so CJBMX 702, 2 poles out of 3 so far this year, and as he goes through Paddock Hill Bend, how wide is he going to be? He doesn't really get onto that exit curve. The curves are going to be extremely slippery at this stage. At this stage of qualifying in these torrential conditions. We're going to have rain for both the race as well as qualifying at the moment. So, CJBMX 702, where are we on the track now? So we're currently coming through, we've gone through Druids, I think. No, we haven't. We're going down to Hawthorne Hill and Hawthorne Bend right at the end of it. So it's hard to say how good the lap's looking at the moment. We'll get a good idea of where we could expect pole position. Oh, the back end gets a bit twitchy there, going through the Westfield Bend. As I said, the back of this circuit is usually very high speed, and in these conditions, a lot of these corners aren't going to be flat out, and we're going to have drivers really having to watch how it goes and make sure they don't put it in the hedge. As we're just coming to the end of the lap now, so we're heading down towards Clearways then, the final corner on this track. Very easy for the car to drift out wide on the exit, especially very easy to carry too much speed through Clearways. But get it right and onto the Brabham straight you go, get a good exit and across the line, and it's at 130.135. What's going to be the next time? Sisavuma next across the line, Kung Giants did a 131.5. Sisavuma takes provisional pole by a tenth of a second. Carl W 1986, he's gone in P2. Very close, less than a tenth. Kung Giants has gone into the pit lane. Nick Nitro has gone 4th. Phoenix has gone into 8th. 2 seconds off the pace. They're all flying across the line at the moment. Cryptic, 13 seconds off the pace, so he's had some drama somewhere on that lap. And it looks, so we've got, at the moment, we've got Sisavuma on provisional pole. But 3 100ths of a second behind him is Carl W1986, CJB. Oh, we've got a car off down at Druids. Who is that? It's had a spin, I'm not quite sure. We're currently watching Jammy 21 on his lap, because has he set a lap time yet? Yes, he went P5 with his lap. So, Sisavuma's on provisional pole. Carl W1986 is in second. CJBMX 702 is in third. Nick Nitro in fourth. Jammy, who we're watching at the moment, who's currently a tenth or so down his personal best, is in fifth. Walgren's in sixth. Fogarty's in seventh. Then we've got Danny Redeemer in ninth. Kung Jarnix down in 10th and Cryptic down in 14th, but we know he didn't set a representative lap time. So I wonder if he's on a flyer at the moment that we could maybe cut to. Here we're going to watch Carl, though, finish his lap by the looks of things. Through clearways, the back of the Ferrari twitching away. Where's this going to be as he comes across the line? And it's better. He gains half a tenth. So, not much, but it's better than nothing. Oh, and Cryptic's in the wall and into the pit lane. So Cryptic's struggling at the moment. And I just realised that Carl, who was 400th of a second or something off the best time, managed to cut it down to 100th of a second. How much closer to pole position could you be at the moment? Oh, that's incredible. But it looks like the wet conditions are definitely making for a tight qualifying session. Here's CJBMX 702. He's got a tenth and a half to find on Sisavuma across the line, and it's not good enough. It wasn't an improvement. So, will he go for another lap? Here's Kung Jarnix then, so another one who's struggling a bit far down the order at the moment. So out of the championship contenders at the moment, one of them's on provisional pole. The other two are incredibly down in 10th and 14th at the moment. And it also looks like by our timing tower that Javier, I think, is not here tonight either. Anyway, Kung Jarnix then, what can he do? So he's just coming through Hawthorne's Bend at the moment. I think there's a car just in front of him as well, which is not really what he wants. Sisavuma set a new provisional pole lap. That's put him 400ths of a second clear. It's not the biggest of margins, to be honest. I think he would have hoped for a couple of tenths in hand, but it's not to be at the moment. We've got 8 minutes, though, left in this qualifying session, and Brands Hatch is certainly delivering at the moment. We've only got one car in the pit lane, and that's Carl W1986. Here comes Giants across the line. There's a car glitching in the pit lane at the moment, and across the line he goes. It's an improvement by half a second. That moves him up into P6. Here's Cryptic then. We've seen him in the barriers, I think, twice already in this session. He's currently 13 seconds off the pace in P14. And he's just starting his lap, I think, actually, having just said that. So, what can he do? The world is his oyster, as it was at the moment, as he comes into the Druid's hairpin. Nice, neat and tidy. He hasn't spun the rear tyres, and of course no real traction control on this game at all. So in these conditions, in these cars, traction is going to be at a premium, and keeping the wheel spin to a minimum is going to be showing great skill. As into Surtees goes the number 29 Audi. Neat and tidy. Jamie's gone into the pit lane. Walter 79 is up into P4 as well, so great time from him. Through Hawthorne's then for Cryptic. Does he keep it on the road? The back end steps out a little bit, but he should be all right. The car doesn't get away from him. And it's looking all right at the moment. I think we're going down to the Sheen curve now. Doesn't really touch the inside curve, because in these conditions it will easily throw you off. Through the Sterling's Bend then. Will he run wide? It does get onto the exit curve, but tentatively, it has to be said, they're really being careful. CJ BMX has gone on provisional pole, and we thought it couldn't have been any closer. Well, have some of that. 0.008 of a second between those two. Cryptic comes across the line, and it is an improvement of 12 seconds, and it puts him into P5. So, still time on the table. He's got 8 tenths to pole. Look at this. We've got 3 cars within half a tenth at the moment. This is incredible stuff. Here at Brands Hatch, here's Walter 79. He's currently in P4, and now he's in the pit lane. Well, that was slightly anticlimactic. Kung Jarnix is going green by 1.5 tenths in the first sector. Where is he at the moment? So he's down... I can't find it. He's down in P7 at the moment. So, to be fair to him, it's unusual territory. Kung Jarnix, a third and a second in the first 3 races of the season. That's what's put him in this championship battle. He's the only driver to have been on the podium at every single race. He's found an extra tenth or so in the middle sector. And he's got a car right behind him, but he's on but Kung Jarnix is on a flying lap anyway, so it shouldn't make much difference. If anything, it's going to make it even harder for the car behind. Into clearways then. He's 2 tenths up, the back end starts to slide, he clunked the curb massively. The back end twitches, almost goes into the pit lane. He keeps it tight, onto the Brabham straight now. Where's this going to put him? Does he lose time? He did lose time, but he does improve still. But he did lose the majority of what he gained in the first 2 sectors of the lap. So we know he's got more time to find. And that mistake has left him behind. Yeah, that mistake, it didn't really cost him a position, but we know there's more time to find. They're all flying out of the pit lane now at the moment. Here's Carl W 1986 then. So all he's got to find is half a tenth. Easier said than done, possibly, but half a tenth is all he needs, and we could have a new pole sitter. But that looked a bit harum-scarum out of Druids. Through Graham Hill Bend we go. Looks like he got onto the grass a little bit through Druids, so that's easily going to have hampered his time so far. We'll see what the delta is when he goes across the split time, which will be any moment now. And yes, he's a 1/10.5 down. So we're going to need a mega middle sector then, Carl, if you want to get on pole position here at Brands Hatch. Of course, it's his home race as well. So will the British fans who are braving it out in these torrential conditions, these horrible conditions here in Kent, will they see a Brit take pole position? But he's lost more time through the middle sector. The back end still snaking around, and yes, he does bail off into the pit lane. He'll get another go. Sisavuma, 0.3 of a second, takes provisional pole position back. And well, that wasn't as close, but he's going to hit the barriers, and he does, and he bounces through the ground and bounces through the air and bounces into the pit lane. So after a stunning lap, it all went wrong at Paddock Hill Bend. Hopefully there's not too much damage to that Ferrari, but his qualifying session might be over. Carl is still in the pit lane as well, just finding a good time to go. CJ BMX 702, can he take provisional pole back? No, he can't, but I think he was on an outlap, which should be why he hasn't taken provisional pole back. Cryptic then, where is he at the moment? Right, P4, and we've seen him have a few moments on track as well. What's this middle sector going to be like from the Audi R8? Number 29, oh, he's on a slow lap. He's over a minute down, so we'll cut away from him. What about Walter 79 then? What's his middle sector going to be like? He's just behind Cryptic at the moment in P5. All he's got to find is 1/100th of a second as he clunks over the curbs through the Westfield Bend. And he's 36 seconds down, so he's on a slow lap. We'll cut away from him. Nick Nitro. Right, please be on a quick lap, Nick. 3rd time lucky for us. We'll get his delta time any moment. He's 4 seconds down as well, so he's had a moment somewhere. Kung Jarnix then in the other McLaren. Where's this going to put him? We'll see his split time, if any. I wonder if he's on an outlap at the moment as well. Oh no, we're in the final corner. That's why we're at clearways. Right, so across the line, he's going to come any minute. Onto the Brabham straight. And across the line, and he's down. He doesn't improve. 3/100ths of a second off his best time. Right, Fogarty, where can this put? He's in P9 at the moment. 0.6 of a second up on his personal best time. If it was to stay like that, he'll be in contention for a second row slot. He'll be battling with Jamie for P4. At the moment, we've got a minute and 17 seconds or so left in the session. At the moment, Fogarty through clearways now. Slingshots onto the Brabham straight. Where's this going to put him? He might get a little bit of a slipstream from that car in front of him that's going to Paddock Hill Bend. He improves by 0.4, lost a bit of time in the final sector. But it's P5 all the same. Third row. But he's not going to get another lap. So if he wants to keep going, he's got to do it on this lap. Right, Carl W 1986. Currently in Surtees. What's this lap going to be like? Because this might be his only lap left, and he's a 10th down. He's got to keep going. He might get another lap, but if he gets there in time, I'm not too sure. 30 seconds left in the session. 2 cars are in the pit lane. That's Bertakio and Wallgren. And now CJB, Walter's gone third. Walter goes third and into the pit lane. And CJB is going to start from 4th place at best. Cryptic has gone up to P2, a 10th or so, but no one seems to be beating Sisavuma. Somebody's off the track. No, he's blocked him. Carl gets massively blocked in Sterling's Bend, and that has surely ruined his qualifying lap. Sisavuma goes even quicker out front as well. Qualifying is complete. What about Carl? The back end twitches through clearways, and across the line he comes. And where's it going to put him? And no timing delta comes up, and I think the lap was very much ruined. I'm not sure who it was that went off, but either way it ruined that lap. What about Jamie then? He's in P7 at the moment. Where's this going to put him? We've seen him as high as P4. Where will he be? P4. He takes it back, and CJB is down to 6th place. What about Phoenix now? He's currently the slowest of the runners at the moment. The man who had his home race got a points finish last time out. He needs to find 7 tenths to get off the last grid slot. Through the Sheen curve into Sterling's Bend. We'll get a time, hopefully we'll go get a split time up in a minute. It looks like we're heading down towards Clearways. Where's this going to put him on the grid? Slings it into Clearways. The front of that car looks damaged. That Ferrari's hit the barriers at some point. There's definitely some damage to the front of that car, which might be why he's struggling. There's a car glitching in the pit lane. Phoenix doesn't, he does improve his time, but not enough, and he will stay in P14. There are 10 seconds until qualifying is complete, and there is no one else to set a lap time, and Sisavuma makes it 2 from 4. And it is pole position for him by nearly 0.3 of a second. Cryptic keeping himself in the championship hunt, P2. Walter, brilliant performance for P3. Jamie, brilliant performance for P4. Kung Jarnik's in 5th. CJB, who's had 2 out of 3 poles coming into this race, won last time out, he's only P6. Carl W986 is in 7th. Fogarty is in 8th. Danny Redeemer in 9th, and Nick Nitro rounds out the top 10. It is now race time. We're going to have a 2-minute wait or so until the cars get out onto the formation lap, where we're just already up at the moment. And all the lights, all the headlights are on at the moment, because it is quite dark here at Brands Hatch. And the rain continues to fall. But it certainly isn't raining on Sisavuma's parade, because he's bounced back from that difficult race in Portugal. Only finished in P6, and he's now back on pole position. Let's run you through the championship standings while we wait. Sisavuma leads the way. He's got 91 points, 2 wins from 3. 7 points behind him. Kung Jarnik's the only man to be on the podium at every race. He starts in P5, so he's going to have it'll be interesting to see if he can get himself back on the podium. Cryptic, he's in P3, currently lines up 2nd on the grid at his home event, so watch out for him. As I said, 9 points off the lead. Those are the 3 that are mainly in the championship hunt. 4th place is Bear Takio with 62 points, then it's Jamie with 53, Devon Bohr with 50, CJB with 37, although it's worth pointing out that out of the 3 races, he's led them all at some point. He's led them all at the end of the first lap, actually, but 2 of them have resulted in DNS. 30 points is Carl W 1986. He's got 30 points, 28 points for Wallgren, 23 for both Holtzman and Fogarty, but Holtzman is above him in the standings. They've both got the same best result, but Holtzman is ahead of him by getting that 5th place the first race. So on countback, he did it first. Then it's Danny Vidima in 12th with 17 points, Phoenix with 16, Golota with 14, and Javier with 7. And we are underway for the formation lap here at Brands Hatch, and Sisavuma leads the pack through Paddock Hill Bend and into Druid's Hairpin. And as we say every week, if you keep your car on the track, don't put it in the barriers, don't spin it, you're more than likely to get yourself a decent result. And that could not be more true than today, I think. Because these conditions are going to be so tough. Wet conditions are tough enough on any racing game. But on Project Cars 2, or Project Cars 1, it's something else, isn't it? So, you know, we're going to see some brilliant skill from these drivers today. We'll probably see a couple of spins, a couple of light touches with the barriers. But I do think we're going to get a very interesting race around Brands Hatch here today. Quite a narrow track actually as well. Only 9 corners as well, but it's quite a narrow track, so overtaking is going to be tough. Best overtaking point in the track is surely into Druids. There's no way we're going to see many overtakes around the back of the circuit where we are at the moment, around you know, from Hawthorne's Bend, Westfield Bend, Sheen Curve, Stirling's Bend. I don't think you'll see many moves through here. But it is almost time to get racing. Sisavuma lost places at the start last time out in Portugal. He won't want to do it today. He leads the pack round clearways to start this race. Round 4 of Season 8 of the Project Cars PS4 GT3 Elite League is about to get underway. And now we are going. It's a great start from the 3rd place car of Walter. He's pressuring Cryptic into Paddock Hill Bend, but Sisavuma leads comfortably through Paddock Hill Bend. Kunjanix is trying to make a move as well, moving his way up the field. In fact, he's already passed Jammy up. He's up into 4th place. We've got them go 3 wide of the car off the track as well. And oh, I think Kunjanix is off onto the grass. Someone's kicked up one of the advertisement hoardings. And that looks like there might be contact for the McLaren. Nick Nitro sniffing around the back of his teammate as well into Surtees' corner. But they're all still running. We've still got 14 runs. Oh, and we've got a car off the number 53. Ferrari is off the track and dropping places as well. I think that might have been Bear Tacchio, who's lost a few places, lost a place or 2 at the start as well. CJB's up to P3 already. Great start for him. Jammy's lost a couple of places at the start as well. Walter, in fact, lost a place as well. He's under pressure at the moment from Jammy, who's right behind him at the moment. There's a McLaren all out of shape through there in the background as well. Looks like he kept it on the track. I think that might have been Nick Nitro who's managed to get himself up into 10th place. Walter leads him into clearaways. He seems to have dropped Jammy now by a few tenths of a second. And Jammy, in fact, is under pressure from Fogarty at the moment as they go onto the Broughton Straight. No one really shaping up a move into Paddock Hill Bend. They're all staying single file for the time being anyway. And it's all reasonably well behaved, and I think they're all just taking these conditions quite cautious at the moment, just to make sure that we don't have any spins, no one tripping over each other. Oh, and just as I say that, Carl W1986 is off. He is off down at Graham Hill Bend. In fact, he didn't even make it. He's between Druids and Graham Hill. And that's not a good start for him, and that's the first spin that we have seen today. And he's going to have some catching up to do. Sisavuma, 2.2 seconds out in the lead already. He's already stretching them legs in that Ferrari at the moment, pulling away from Cryptic. If CJB or Cryptic, they're going to have to get a bit of a move on You'd think CJB might be the only one who can really take the fight at the moment. And he's off in the background. He's off at Sheen Curve, trying to get round Cryptic. I told you, we're not going to see any overtakes through there. He tried it anyway and lost a second or so. In fact, he probably lost more because he didn't overtake him. So he's got to try and work out try and catch back up to him. We've got a move going on through Clearways, I think, in the background. Someone trying to set up a move. I think that could be it's this group here. Punjanic's trying to find his way around Fogarty, maybe. They get a bit close on the apex of Paddock Bend. But no moves being done into Druids. Sticking to the apex like glue. Some people are trying so many different lines in these wet conditions. Of course, some people will take the karting line, try and find a bit more grip on the outside. Others will just take the normal racing line. Of course, there hasn't been any dry running around this track, so the racing line shouldn't be too slippery, actually. Although the karting line is tended to be a bit preferred. So, there's a lot of them very nip and tough at the moment. Fogarty then. And here's Carl W1986, so we saw him have that spin. He's tucked up. I'm not quite sure who he's tucked up behind at the moment, but he's trying to find his way around. It's the Schmid, a new driver by the looks of things. And he has been demoted, and he's lag hit him as well, I think. So, the Schmid moves down into 14th, and Carl is up into P13. We've got Fogarty off as well. Fogarty off, it looks like, where's that? That's down at Sterning's Bend, the exit off. And there's another car off, there's a Ferrari off in Clearways. Danny V. Dima losing place as well, trying to find his way around the outside. And, yeah, we told you it's not a wide track, as the McLaren looks like to dive to the inside there. Not going to happen, I don't think. That would have been Nick Nitro, I think, trying to make a move into Paddock Bend. And Phoenix has run wide. Phoenix has run wide. He's going to be under pressure into Druids. He gets a hit from behind from Danny B. Dima. They both keep pointing in the right direction. That will cause some aero damage to the Ferrari. There's a car up in the background. On the exit of Druids, that could be Carl. There's a car that's in the barriers. It's Fogarty. So Fogarty's the latest driver to have a spin. He falls down to P14. And drama, Jammy putting Walter under pressure now. Walter, who had such a fast start, under pressure now from the Audi. Through the Westfield Bend. Again, it's just, there's no real place to make a move around here. Although he's going to throw it up the inside, is he? No! Clunking over the curb, a little cheeky corner cut. 4/10 up on his best time. He's jamming, he's flying in these conditions at the moment. Much quicker than the car in front. Down towards Clearways. Is he going to make a move? He goes to the inside, fixed to the outside, back end slides, loses a bit of time. Through Clearways, onto the main straight. He's pulled out of the slipstream, trying to let him know he's there. He sets his fastest lap so far and lay on the brakes into Paddock Hill Bend. But can't quite make the move stick. Will we see him throw it up the inside into Druids? I wouldn't be surprised if we see him launch one up the inside, but no, he doesn't. Walter covers him off. And he may have to just sit in behind for the time being. And still no way round towards Surtees now. And we've got a car in the pit lane. Fogarty's gone into the pit lane. So I wonder if he picked up damage when he hit the barrier with that spin in the exit of Druids, and that's not ideal for his race. And with such a short racetrack, that's going to be quite hard to make that time back up. Walter then, still under pressure from Jammy. And we're looking at Wolverine now, trying to find his way past Danny V. Dima. I think they're all caught up behind Phoenix. He's just at the head of this little train. This leads up into the top 9. So this is a good little train at the moment. Phoenix, of course, qualified last. He's had a great start. He's gone from 14th to 9th. And he has a bit of a moment there. He's going to have to hold the inside line. The Ferrari of Bertacchi tries to go around. Danny V. Dima, sorry, tried to go around the outside. He's now under pressure from Walker as they go down towards Clearways. We saw a move. They tried to make a move through Sterling's Bend. That was always going to be ambitious. And now it looks like Walgren's trying to find a way around. There's three of them, all ducking from left to right to try and find a way around. Carl W. United 86, he throws it up the inside of Danny Medina into Practical Bend. That's a brave move if I've ever seen one. Will he have another go? Into Drummond, he's already pulling out, pulls back in. Tries to force it to a mistake, but it's him who makes the mistake. And now Walgren's going to try and make it up the inside of Drummond. That's it. Carl will have the inside for Graham Hill and just about holds on to the position. This is a great battle between these guys. Phoenix has started to get away at the front of this train. Carl, I think he's run wide as he's trying to, or is he just trying a slightly different line? But either way, it's putting Walgren onto the back of it now as they go through the kink of Hawthorne Hill down towards Hawthorne Bend. And as I said, we're not going to see any moves around here. Be wacky enough to see a move in the dry, let alone in the wet conditions like this. And I think that Ferrari's run wide. Danny V. Dima did run wide, and now he's under immense pressure. He's going to go up the inside as he into Westfield. That's going to be crazy, but he's made it stick, I think. They're on the grass, they're still side by side, but Danny V. Dima does make the move stick through Sterling's Bend. Great effort, what a move from Danny V. Dima, brilliant stuff. And he's up into the top 10. And they're still all line astern going down the Brabham Straight. Will he try it up the inside into Druids? No, he backs out of it. I thought he was going to throw it up the inside. Just sitting behind for now then. Oh, car off, Wolverine. Wolverine's just spun. Back end lit the rear tyres up and round she went. And we've got a really tight battle for second place at the moment, I think, between Cryptic and CJB. The gap between them, and here it is, just a couple of tenths of a second. So Cryptic holding on to the second place that we saw him, which he's held from qualifying. But Sisavuma has disappeared up the road. The gap to the lead is 5 seconds at the moment. Cryptic, not as quick in these conditions as the two guys who battled it out for the lead of races all season. Yeah, incredibly, there's a massive gap in points between Sisavuma and CJB. There's a car in the pit lane. That's the new driver for this week. And oh, Cryptic's dropped it in Panakill Bend. Back end got away, he's caught it, he hasn't lost too much time. Where's Walter? That's not Walter, that's the lapped car behind him. Walter's a further 5 seconds back as the lap car just snakes about a bit in Druids Bend. But Cryptic gives up second place in the cruelest of manners. And what have we got a move going on into Panakill Bend? That's brave, that's bold, and that is absolutely brilliant from Danny V. Dima. But Carl's coming back at him as well. He'll have the inside line for Druids to hold on. Will the Ferrari, well, they're both Ferraris, will the 53 Ferrari get the cut back through Druids? He can't. And it's going to be Carl who hangs on through Grahamville Bend. But that was sensational racing between these two. Side by side through Panakill Bend. And now all of a sudden Carl is setting his sights firmly on Phoenix. The car in front of him. These guys have been providing some incredible entertainment. We need to keep an eye on the lap time this time around for CJB to see if he's got any answer for the pace of Sisavuma at the moment. And Carl is still trying to find a way around Phoenix at the moment. The back end just stepping out a little bit. Very close, very close. It's one of the, in these conditions, the smallest mistake. Just put the power down just a little bit too early as Carl is almost pushing Phoenix round some of these corners. You know, you just put the power down a little bit too early. Just put And in these conditions, the wet conditions, it's going to be so costly, and we've seen a few drivers spin. We're already 10 laps into this race. Laps are flying by, and it looks like Carl is going to be able to try and make a shape of move up on Phoenix. Is he going to have a go into Druids? It looks like he might, but he gets covered off. And there might have been contact actually in Druids Bend on the entrance to it. But Phoenix just about is staying ahead. You can see, I think that Carl is a little bit quicker at this stage of the race. And out in front, CJV was 0.2 of a second faster on the last lap, although the gap does, and I think the gap has come down a little bit for the leaders, which is good. We want to battle for the lead. I can't believe we're a quarter of the way through this race already. And again, Carl trying to find a way past Phoenix. It's just not quite happening at the moment. I think if he just keeps it nice and tidy, his best opportunity might come into Druids, maybe even into Sterling. No, has to sit in behind. I don't think we're going to see him make a move into Clearways. He might be brave and try and make a move into Paddock Bend. Sisavuma's extended the lead on that lap by a good half a second. Look at the launch through Clearways that Carl W1986 has got on the Brabham Straight. Surely he's going to pull out to the side. He pulls out to the right-hand side. He's going to try and cut back, I think, on the apex of Paddock Bend. Phoenix going really defensive through the first corner. When he got the inside into Druids, he goes for it. Phoenix cuts him off in the braking zone and holds on. And I think Carl's starting to get a bit frustrated as he gets on the grass, almost hits him into Graham Hill. The British fans are egging him on, trying to push their support behind him, try and get him past Phoenix. We're on board now with Carl W1986. This is going to look spectacular through the back of the circuit now. We're heading through, we've just gone through Hawthorne Hill, we're heading down towards Hawthorne's Bend now. And you can't really see the braking point, you can't really see the apex because we're so close to the back of the Daily Ferrari. Phoenix runs wide, is he going to go up the inside? That's going to be great, we can't really see where he is. I think there might have been contact, but Carl is through. He does get through, and he's up into 9th place, and the British fans around this track stand to applaud. What can he do now? So he's now got Bear Takio 4.5 seconds up the road. He's cleared the bottle, the neck of the bottle as it were. And it's all about pushing on. And he's already dropped Phoenix by a second in the final second of the lap. Next up, Danny V. Deemer. We've already seen from him today that he's not afraid to try and overtake into any corner. If someone's brave enough to go side by side through Paddock Bend, I think I think we're going to see everything today. Nice point of note on the last lap, Cryptic cut the gap to CJB down as well, so that gap's coming down by about half a second, 0.4 or so on the last lap. Danny V. Deemer still right up behind Phoenix. Ferrari versus Ferrari. The equal cars setup might be slightly altered, but even still, it's a straight fight between these two drivers, and you can already see Carl W986 starting to disappear out front. Start to pull away from this battle, as it were. Through the Sheen curve now, into Sterling's. It's all about setting him up down the Brabham Straight, into Paddock Bend, maybe even into Druids. I'm so surprised we haven't seen any moves going off into Druids. I thought we would have seen quite a few on the track map. At the very least, it looks like the best overtaking opportunity on the track. But our drivers have been a bit creative today, and that's good. And the lead out in front is up to 7 seconds now. Sisavuma just controlling the pace out front at the moment. And here is CJB, and he is being caught quite quickly by Cryptic behind him. The gap's down to 2.5 seconds, so we saw him being hounded. We saw CJB hounding Cryptic earlier on. Yeah, just not to be. And it looks like we've got a couple of drivers going, we've got a big clump of drivers side by side in the middle part of the lap, and another big train heading down towards Hawthorne Bend as well. Here's Kung Jarnix, tucked up behind Walter, 79. He's going up the inside into Sterling's Bend, actually, and Walter has to give the place up. Kung Jarnix moves up into 5th place. It's been a tricky weekend for Kung Jarnix so far, but he's back up into the top 5. Can he head off after Jamie? That is about 4.3 seconds up the road at the moment. I wonder if there's damage on the McLaren, but I don't think there is. I think he's alright. There'll be a couple of cars with bits of aero damage at the moment. Here's Phoenix. Still got Danny Vidima right behind him, although he looks a lot closer onto the Bradman Straight, but he doesn't look close enough to try and risk a move into Paddock Hill Bend. Has to sit in behind that beautiful yellow Ferrari, just holding on to a top 10 position at the moment. Danny not close enough into Druids, although Phoenix covers it off anyway. And it's at this part of the track where it's just so difficult to try and overtake at the moment. Into Surtees then, not quite close enough. Although as he run wide a little bit, I think he did. I think Phoenix went a little bit wider than he would have liked actually through Surtees. That's going to put Danny Vidima a lot closer as they head through Hawthorne Hill down towards Hawthorne's Bend. It's not an overtaking point though, and we have to go on board with Danny Vidima now. The spray just kicking up and into the windscreen wiper working as hard as it's ever had to, and they get very close. Very close indeed through the Westfield Bend. This is going to give them a great chance into Sterling's. Through Dingledell. Now clunking over the curb at Sheen Curve. Not quite close enough for Sterling's. Rumble goes over the Rumble strip. Not quite the best of exits though. Into Clearways. We're going to get a good view. So the car's going to start to pull to the left now. It does. The back end steps out a little bit. Fight it, get it onto the main straight, which isn't really straight. Now we're going to see him fly through Paddock Hill Bend. This is going to be brilliant to watch. Will he hit the apex? Yeah, I think he did. Poked under the pressure of being on live broadcast. Into Druids, and look at that, look how defensive Phoenix went. Through the car to the apex, stuck to it like glue. But it's the line that's working for him at the moment, so who are we to criticise? The lead out front came down by a tenth of a second on that lap, and the gap between CJB and Cryptic went up by a couple of tenths as well. So CJB starting to get back in the groove, possibly, maybe. Although, point of note, Cryptic was quicker than Savina as well on that lap, as was Jamie in 4th place, and a great lap time actually from Carl as well, down in P9, doing the same lap times as the leaders pretty much. Here he is. Bertacchio I think's just had a moment. I think he might have had a bit of a moment through the Sheen Curve. Bertacchio, here he is anyway. We're on lap 15 of 40 here at Brands Hatch. And it's still Sisavuma who leads the way from pole position. He's kept the lead comfortably and has just controlled the pace very nicely so far. CJB, of course, starting in P6, so I suppose after 16 laps or so, he'll be very happy to see himself in P2, even if his pace is a bit hit and miss, although he is starting to catch Sisavuma, as we said, a couple of tenths on that lap. Cryptic going quickly as well. Quickest man in the top 3 at the moment. And he's got 3.5 seconds to CJB in front of him. The British fans willing on their driver at the moment. 9 seconds off the lead. It's a long race yet. And he sets his best lap so far. All the leaders in the 1 minute 30s. It was Sisavima who was the quickest, but they're all within a tenth of each other pretty much. Sisavima 1:30.2, Cryptic 1:30.3, CJB 1:30.4. Tight margins between the top 3 at the moment. Jammy still doing really well in 4th place, got a 5-second lead over Kung Jarnix in the McLaren. Walter P6, he'll be a bit disappointed with how it's gone so far. Nick Nitro up to 7th. He was having a good race last time out until he disconnected. Disappointing result in the end for him. Carl in 8th. We've seen him have a few dramas. Bear Takio in 9th. Danny V. Deemer in 10th. Phoenix in 11th. Walgren in 12th. Fogarty in 13th. Bottom 2 on the timing tower. Of course, have already made pit stops in this race. And I think, Danny V. Deemer's moved past Phoenix actually as well. We didn't catch it on camera, but Danny V. Deemer did get past Phoenix, and he's already a couple of seconds up the road from him as well. So you saw Phoenix had a great start, struggling for pace a little bit, and the midfield have just gobbled him up, and he finds himself out of the top 10 at the moment. Let's see if we can find the closest battle on track. They're all a little bit spread out at the moment. We've all got a couple of seconds between them at the moment. I think it could be Kung Jarnix and Walgren maybe. Might be the closest one. Or Carl to Nick Nitro, which is the one we're watching at the moment. And Carl W1986 is catching Nick Nitro ahead of him. By over a second on the last lap actually, so the Ferrari looking a lot quicker than the McLaren at this stage. We're almost at half distance as well. Very close to the dirt, the mud and the grass on the exit of Graham Hill Bend there. The cars will be really pushing the boundaries of this Ferrari, making the track as wide as it'll be, keeping a bit of grass, but it's working for him. He's nearly a tenth up on his best time of the race so far. Nick Nitro also now being forced to push with that Ferrari starting to loom ever bigger in his mirrors. Cryptic still catching CJB as well. Over a second on the last lap. Still green sectors from Carl. Gap down to 1.7. And it tends to with these GT3 races. Hectic start. Plateaus a bit in the middle. But it usually results in an emphatic finish. So, you can hang on for the time being. At the moment, in terms of a podium battle, Jammy doesn't look like he's getting much closer to one. He's currently in P4, he's got Kung Jarnix behind him. In terms of best results so far, his best was a P4 last time out, so he's matching his best result so far. I'd say this one's a bit more impressive than the one in Portugal at the moment. We've still got 14 runners in the race, and the conditions are much tougher. Cryptic, right, we said that he was catching CJB, and that is exactly what we are seeing at the moment. The Audi really coming at the Ferrari now. So it was the opposite way around at the start, where we saw Cryptic having to defend from CJB, and that resulted in a mistake. Is he going to be able to force it the other way around? Although I must say, he doesn't look like he quite has learnt from his mistake last time, as he really clunked over the curb at Paddock Hill Bend. And there's the mistake! There's the mistake from CJB, and he surrenders second place. Hasn't lost as much time as Cryptic did when he had his moment, but as we were saying, it's going to be all about putting the pressure on. A mistake into Druids, and CJB drops down to third place, and the British fans go wild in the grandstands because their man is back up into the top two, and all this is just playing into the hands of Sisavuma. His lead is now at 9.5 seconds, although Cryptic is currently the fastest man on circuit. But 9.5 seconds is quite a gap to cut down. But we've still got 20 laps to go, so who knows, who knows. He'll need to be half a second a lap quicker if he wants to catch Sisavuma, the championship leader. A win for Cryptic could take him to the top of the standings. With just a couple of races to go, we've still got to go to Laguna Seca. That's next week. Oh, we've got a spinner! Is that Sisavuma? No, it's a lap car. It's a lap car. I thought for a moment our race leader had spun at Druids, but it wasn't. There was a lapped car. Not quite sure who it would have been. Nick Nitro's coming under pressure from Carl W986. I wonder if we can ride on board with the Ferrari. Through clearways we go onto the main straight. We're on board now as we head towards Paddock Hill Bend. The spray still being kicked up. It's a new personal best lap for Carl. Back end gets a bit of a swap run through Paddock Hill Bend, clunks over the curb. He's got such a good exit through Paddock Hill Bend. The McLaren drives off the racetrack, but he's up the inside into Druids. Is the McLaren around the outside? No. And Carl moves up past Nick Nitro, and that will put him up into P7 now. So, recovering from that spin at the start, Carl up to 7th place now, so it's been a good recovery for him. And next up the road is Walter, 3.5 seconds. In terms of their last lap times, Carl was 3 seconds quicker, 2 and a bit seconds quicker, nearly 3 seconds. So that sort of pace will be good to watch. Cryptic has fallen behind CJB again and has lost 5 seconds, and that best lap delta of 7 seconds down, the British hearts sink because Cryptic has had a moment somewhere. So he took second place back, but he's had a problem of his own, and CJB back up into P2. So, Cryptic, he's been quicker than CJB. He's going to have to do it all again. Carl W986 cut their gap to Walter down to 1.5 seconds. Miles quicker than the Audi. And you can see how much he's struggling through Druids. Nowhere near the apex. Maybe he's just trying a karting line, but it did not look the quickest way around the corner, because he's lost a couple of tenths to the car behind. Sisabuma's lead at 10.5 seconds now. And Walter coming under pressure from Carl W1986. 1.1 seconds is the gap, so he's still catching him. Through Hawthorne's Bend and out the back of this circuit, the rain continues to pour. And it doesn't look like it's going to let up anytime soon. Anytime soon. And he's still consistently catching him. He's caught him quite quickly through the middle sector. Down towards clearways we go then. Closest battle on circuit, this one is. A couple of tenths, half a second now as they cross the line. Walter still struggling for pace. A good second and a bit down on the car behind. I can't see him being able to keep car behind. He's going defensive into Druids now. Is he going to go around the outside? He skates off the track. It looks so slippery down at Druids. Your cars just cannot run side by side at all. By the looks of things, it's not the first time we've seen cars making mistakes down at Druids. He has to sit in behind again. Didn't lose too much time. But the problem is out the back of the circuit, there's nowhere to overtake really. Is he going to have a look into Hawthorne's bend? No, not quite close enough. Can't quite make the move, but the Audi runs wide. He runs wide. Is he going to go up the inside into Westfield? That'll be a brave move. Has to sit in behind. Next up's the Sheen curve again. That's not a corner that you'd really overtake in. Sterling's is going to be the best opportunity. Oh, he's run wide. He's run wide through Sheen curve, and it's another mistake that creeps into Carl. Frustration just eking in a little bit, and he's lost a good 0.7 of a second or so to the car in front. And they are catching a car. This is Walgren then at the moment. He's got Phoenix a second or so behind, a couple of seconds behind him, and I don't think that's the car directly behind him. I think he's been lapped. Could be Sissavoon, but right up behind him at the moment. And yeah, out of the way, he pulls, maybe not. And here's Carl then, right on the back of Walter again. Again, this is just, the problem is that you need to get the move done in the first half of the track, because it's just not really going to happen in the back half of the circuit. And you just see through Hawthorne's bend, it's just no real way around. Just can't find a way through at the moment. Through Westfield Bend, not quite close enough. Through Dingledale. And now this is where he made the mistake on the last lap. Into Sheen curve. Almost makes the same mistake. Got very close to the grass on the left hand side. Through Sterling's. Again the car understeers in the middle of the corner. Just not quite close enough, and did lose a bit of time. And it's not the best place to be losing time, because you need to get yourself a good third sector if you want any hope of making an overtake in the first part of the lap. Otherwise you're just going to get stuck behind them again. But he's had a good run through Aberkill Bend. I don't think he's just not going to be close enough until, although he gains a lot. Is he going to hit him in Druids? No, they get so close. Gates around for grip in Druids. Could have lost a lot more time than he actually did. And I think Cryptic has had another moment, you know. Either that, or CJ Beans really turned it on. I think it's a bit of both, because the gap for the lead has come down to 6.7 seconds now. So maybe we are going to get a battle for the lead, but we're going to stick with this battle because Carl all over the back of Walter. But this is, I mean, there's no point catching at this part of the circuit because you just can't find a way around. And up in the distance you can see Kunjanix as well. P5. It's not too far away. This is the man that was facing the wrong way at the end of the second lap. Still, he has to sit in behind and just struggling to find a way through. Down towards clearaways we go. Can't quite find the way around. Has to sit in behind. Down the Brabham straight towards Paddock Bend. He gets such a good run through here. He's a bit closer than he was last lap. I think he's just got to throw it at the inside. He wants any chance of overtaking Walter. He's just got to get close enough to just throw one up the inside of Druids, and then maybe, just maybe, it'll work for him. Through Graham Hill Bend. Walter, this has been a great defensive drive in this battle. He's doing very well. Holding on. No mistakes. Calm at the wheel. Although he's got a good run into towards Hawthorne's Bend. Can't quite find a way around again. Just having to sit in behind. The irony being that Walter's lapping pretty similarly to Kung Jarnik's in front of him. So, and of course, Carl W. And Nick Nitro, who's about 4 seconds behind. So they're all lapping pretty similarly at the moment. But nothing has come of it yet. Onto the main straight. It's just not close. It's just so frustrating because he's so much quicker in the first part of the lap and the middle part of the lap, but not in the part of the lap where it really matters, the final part, because it just isn't close enough into Druids. And it must be getting ever so frustrating. The gap out front is still around 6.5 seconds, so it is coming down a little bit. It is coming down a little bit. Came down quite a lot on the last lap, actually. So I wonder if Sisavin is just bringing the car home, just winning in the slowest time possible to make sure he doesn't have any dramas out on track. Oh, he's going up the inside. Is he into Hawthorne's? No! Looked like he went for it. Not quite close enough. What about into Westfield? Not quite. It's all well and good trying these moves, but it's all about keeping it nice and tidy. You don't want to have an off. Don't want to get caught up behind. This is where it counts. Get a good slingshot through Sterling's. Now, has he? I'm not sure if he did get a good run. I don't think he did. And he's, again, just isn't flipping close enough. And it's just not quite happening at the moment. And it must be so frustrating. So frustrating. Here's Walgren under pressure from Fogarty. So we've cut to a different battle now. This is the battle for P11 at the moment. So Fogarty, of course, coming back from that pit stop, got himself up into P12. We want to make that P11 now. Can he get a good run through Sterling's? It looks like he has. He's already pulling out to the side. They're going side by side as they run down towards Clearways. Is he going to go around the outside? Walgren hangs on and gets past. That was Danny V. Deemer he was overtaking. My apologies. So Danny V. Deemer is the man who loses out to Walgren. Fogarty's just in behind. So Walgren up into P10. Where's Danny V. Deemer? Danny V. Deemer's disconnected. We've lost Danny V. Deemer. And we have our first retirement of this race. And we had problems before qualifying got underway with Danny V. Deemer disconnecting, reconnecting. It looked to have been fixed. And his connection has failed on him after 28 laps. Here is Fogarty then. So can he find a way past Walgren? Walter still fighting off Fogarty as well. Sorry, I mean Carl W986. This is Fogarty that we're watching now, trying to find a way past Walgren. Maybe he's losing a bit of time. Here is Carl W. Oh, he's off! He's off! Walter's run wide! Walter's run wide out of the exit of Graham Hill Bend, but Carl just wasn't close enough to capitalise. He has a look into Surtees. No mistake there, though. from Walter. Can he get a good launch now? Down towards Hawthorne's Bend. He's right in the slipstream. Right in the toe as they come through Hawthorne's Hill. No, just not close enough. If that was a chicane, a slow speed hairpin, you'd feel he'd make the move. But he's made the mistake there on the exit. And up the inside goes Carl to the United 86, but he's run wide as well. And I think they're still side by side as they head towards Sheen Curve. They're going to go, that's crazy. They're not going to go side by side. They do. How have they not made contact on the exit? That's incredible. And Carl finally gets back, or just finally passes Walter, 79. He is up into P6. Next up is Kung Jarnix, 5.2 seconds up the road. Let's see if he can get at him. Here is Sisavuma, race leader. Just cruising. Just cruising. He's got it all under control. And he has done from the very start, from qualifying. Got pole. Great start. And just hasn't been challenged at all. Just setting very, very consistent laps. So 131.0. And no mistakes. He was 4/10 of a second slower than CJD last time out, but I think he's got to go for it a little bit more than Sisavuma at the moment. Yet again, a battle for the lead between these two. As once again, eluded us. Just don't know how. Don't know how it just hasn't quite come to the forefront for us. But, it is what it is. Maybe we'll get it at Laguna Seca or at Monza. 2 races to go after this one. Laguna Seca, we go stateside next week. And I'm looking forward to seeing these cars battle it out in the corkscrew at Laguna Seca. Not sure how much these guys are really looking forward to it. But I think it's going to provide a bit. Either way. And who are we to complain? Let's see if we can find a battle. As I said, it's all sort of plateau. I think Nick Nitro close to Walter. Walter's fallen downfield a bit, I think. Hasn't he? Maybe he's lost a place somewhere. I don't know. Yeah, let's see if we can find Walter. Here is Nick Nitro actually, so he's got Walter 79, 4 seconds or so up the road. Of course, we saw Walter get overtaken by Carl W96. It almost feels like with 9 laps to go that all these drivers are just trying to bring it home. There hasn't been as many mistakes as I expected anyway, compared to what we had. Compared to what we had in Portugal last time out. But either way, it is what it is. And it's good for these guys. A lot of these drivers take a lot of confidence from keeping it pretty neat and tidy in these really difficult conditions. The only wet race we're going to have in this calendar at the moment. And here is Carl W986, who's taken quite a bit of time out of Kung Jarnix in front of him. So Kung Jarnix, who's been on the podium at every single race so far, it looks like that little stat is going to come to an end here at Brands Hatch. We've got a car without one of its headlights as well. Slightly concerning. because as night really is starting to fall here in Kent, with the rain, visibility is pretty low, and there's a little bit of lag going on as well. It's been a baptism of fire, I think, for him. Down in P13, a couple of minutes off the lead, about 20 odd seconds off the car in front. The Schmid, it has been tough. This was a really difficult race for him to come straight into, and driving around with one headlight at the moment in he's in a Nissan as well, the only Nissan driver out there at the moment. Well, there might be a few bits of repairs that need to be done to that car before it goes out to the States. Kunjanic's then, he's still got Carl W986 just closing in. Over a second on the last lap, 1.2 seconds, so pace starting to disappear from that McLaren a little bit now. The lead out in front's just hit 20 seconds. Cryptic's got no answer, it seems, now for the pace of the front two. He's fallen to 21 seconds off the lead, about 12 seconds or so off CJB. I wonder if Sisavima just had a bit of a moment, because he lost a couple of seconds of his lead to CJB. And it actually looks like Kunjanix might be pulling away now from Carl, who's just gone wide, I think, at Surtees, which might explain where a little bit of that time leaked away. Not Surtees, in Stirling. Some of this track looks very similar to other parts of it. And the gap is around 2.3 seconds between these two. We've got about 6 laps to go here at Brands Hatch, and I'm fairly sure this is the closest battle we've got. We've got Kunjanix, Carl W986 and Walter 79 all within about 5 seconds of each other. In fact, I think the closest battle on track is between Bear Takio and Walgren, actually. Not a lot separating those two at all, and I think we might be getting a move sooner rather than later. Walgren trying to find a way through Paddock Hill Bend to get past Bear Takio. We're looking at a possible P9 finish here. Is he going to go up the inside to Druitt? He's gone for it up the inside to Druitt. Where's he seen him? Yes, still just make it through. He hangs around the outside as Bear Takio takes the karting line and holds on to the position. Great piece of driving. Look at the visibility. The Walgren, the water that's being kicked up onto that windscreen. If he was without them headlights, he would not see a thing on the run down towards Hawthorne Bend. Has a little look to the inside, lifts off a little bit as they drop down through Hawthorne Hill. Here we go again. Nice and tidy, doesn't want to risk anything. When you get to this stage of the race, you want to make the move stick, but you also don't want to throw away a top 10 finish at this late stage. He's made a bit of a mistake, actually, through Stirling's Bend, and the gap just see Bear Takio just pull away into the distance a little bit. Gap just gets a bit bigger. Here is Carl W986, so he has caught up to Kunjanix now. It took a few more laps than I think we expected it to, but he has made it. And we're out the back of the circuit anyway, so there's no moves that's going to really get by. He's really got to gain a few more tenths if he wants to get anywhere near making a move. And looking at the lap times, it looks like Cryptic's starting to fall into the hands of Jamie 21 as well, so he's going to really want to get his pace back into gear a little bit, if he can. And it's all about just hanging on for him, bring that podium home. Be disappointed. I think he probably thought he could win this race. Whoa, the back end gets a bit out of shape for Carl W1986 through Druids. Holds on to it though and keeps a reasonable gap still to Kung Janix. Kung Janix is going to lose second place in the championship as it stands to Cryptic. But I think with a result like this, it's looking more and more likely that the Season 8 title is going to be going the way of Ciceruma. The main man who's challenged him in every single race has paid the price of not finishing finishing 2 out of 4 races. And for the other 2 championship challenges, Cryptic's going to get himself on the podium, but he's going to lose points to the championship leader. Kung Janix's podium consistency looks set to come to an end as well. So there might be quite a few disappointed drivers at the end of this race with where they sit in the championship with just a couple of rounds to go. Carl still trying to find a way past Kung Janix. He has now got within striking distance, around 4 tenths or so now is the gap. So now he's within the sort of position you want to be now to try and make a move. If you're within 3 to 5 tenths, you can get close to throwing one in the inside. They are catching the car as well. It's not Jamie 21. Mistake by the McLaren. He makes a mistake through Surtees, and Carl W986 says thank you very much and moves up. What happened there to Kung Janix? He just sort of jumped out the way. He light the rear tyres up and the back end just stepped out. It just opened the door for Carl W986, and he just said thank you very much and took P5 away from Kung Janix. And we were talking about the consistency, the podium consistency, and it's just gotten away from him. And it's going to be a disappointing race for Kung Janix, I think. But he's not giving up yet. These two are quite closely paced. So, with just a few laps to go, it might yet be possible for him to make the move, get the position back. Kung Janix from Sweden, you know, the Swedes are notorious for their rallying capabilities. Though these weather conditions should play into his hands theoretically. Difficult cars to drive though, these. The slightest mistake in the dry conditions and you'll pay a price, let alone in the typical British weather. I would say typical British summer, but it is not even close to being the summer anymore. And you've got to feel for the few thousand fans that have turned up for this event. It's been cold, it's been wet, it's been windy, but the racing's been good. I think that's Phoenix just jumping out of the way. He's being lapped by these guys. Phoenix 2 minutes nearly off the lead, and in fact his pace has severely dropped off. And he's sort of falling into the clutches. And we're coming over to Takio, who's facing the wrong way between Druids and Paddock Bend. He's going to surrender a position, is he? No. Fogarty's through. I think he might have been ahead of him anyway, although 6 seconds up the road, so it looks like he's surrendered that position. He's down to P11, but as I said, he's comfortable to Phoenix. We've still got a 17-second gap over Phoenix, and right at the death, it's a mistake that has come into play for him. We've got a car in the pit lane. Weirdly, with just a few laps to go as well. Throw it all in the mix. And Sisavin is on his penultimate lap. Kunjanix, I think, is dropping away. Yeah, I thought he was catching him. No, Kunjanix, I think he's dropping away from Carl W in 1986. Sisavuma is on his final lap now. His final lap of the race. Here he is in Druids. Just a few miles to go until he takes his third win from 4 races. Through Surtees we go. Well, on lap 40, where has it gone? This race has absolutely flown by tonight. Driver of the day? Who's your driver of the day? Put that down in the live chat. Tisavuma, lights the flag, domination, not put a foot wrong all weekend. DJB coming from E6 on the grid. Who would be your driver of the day? Good recovery for Carl W986 has provided us with a lot of entertainment tonight. But it's all been behind this man. Sisavuma comes through clearways. He's negotiated 40 laps, 40 perfect laps as he flashes his lights to take his third win of the season. It's victory for Sisavuma here at Brands Hatch, and he already has one hand on that championship trophy, you would think, with just a couple of races to go. CJBMX 702 finishes, and it's a second place, and it's a good recovery from P6 on the grid. And now the fans around the track start to stand, start to applaud. They saw a Brit get on the front row in qualifying. They're going to see a Brit take the checkered flag and be on the podium. We will have a Brit on the podium. Jamie 21 gets a joint best result of 4. And we cut to Carl W986, and he's off the road. He's on the grass in Surtees. Kunjanix, though, isn't close enough to capitalise. And it wasn't even in Surtees, it was in the Sterling's Bend, but it doesn't matter. He crosses the line. For P5, Kunjanix will take P6. Walter 79 will come round to take E7. He'll be bitterly disappointed with how his race has gone. Nick Nitro's going to finish. He's going to get the points. He's flashing his lights as well. It's a good result for the McLaren. And the session times out with Sisavuma as our race winner by 16 seconds from CJBMX 702. Cryptic in third, Jamie in fourth, W986 in fifth, Kunjanix in sixth, Walter in seventh, Nick Nitro in eighth, Walgren in ninth, Fogarty in 10th, Takio 11th, Phoenix in 12th, the Schmid in 13th, and then our one person who did not make it to the end, Dan V. Deemer, who disconnected about halfway through the race. Bitterly disappointing result for him. Don't go anywhere yet though, because we might be getting some post-race driver interviews. I know that we sort of promised it, teased it a bit last week. It didn't quite come to fruition. But it might just this time. So we'll just fill for a little bit while we wait to see if we can get any drivers to talk to about their race. A bit of a baptism of fire for Schmid. Swiss driver, tough cars, tough conditions, and a pretty tough racetrack as well, actually, to tackle first time around. but I think he'll be quite happy with his performance. I think. I'm sure that we'll see a bit more when we go to the next round in Laguna Seca. So same time next week, 8 o'clock. The light will go green for qualifying in Laguna Seca. And I tell you what, I really cannot wait for that. I'm really looking forward to Laguna Seca. Really, really good racetrack. No margin for error either, and the corkscrew, of course. Such a great, iconic corner in the motorsport world. Still not sure if we're going to get any driver interviews at the moment. Christmas. And I think we might be getting a driver in a minute by the looks of things. So, you just hang around with us a little bit. Second place driver joining us, CJBMX 702. Good race, P2, P6 on the grid. Must be really happy with that.
Seeing I got damage in turn 2, I was really happy with second place. I couldn't do any better than that. Once I got the damage, the balance was really off. Every time I let off the brake to hit the apex of the corner, the rear end would just want to step out. So I just had to slow down and manage that the entire race. And yeah, pretty happy.
You had a good battle with Cryptic. It looked like you pressured him into a mistake. You had a bit of a mistake of your own, and then he made another one. There was a good little close battle between the two of you in the middle part of the race.
Yeah, our paces were pretty similar the entire race, and then we were just kind of pushing each other, and that's just kind of what happens sometimes, make mistakes.
Another podium. That's going to jet you up the standings a little bit as well. Obviously, it wasn't the best start to the season, but it's a good comeback. Do you reckon you could possibly break into the top 3 of the championship with just a couple of races to go?
It's probably a long shot. I don't know what the points are going to be after this race. More or less just aiming for the Constructors' Championship with my teammate Carl at this point.
And next week, we go to Laguna Seca, home race, aiming for the top step.
Yeah, I'm always aiming for the top step. Yeah, I'm always looking forward to Laguna. It's one of my favorite tracks.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us. You've great race and another podium.
Thank you.
And that was the second place driver for tonight, CJBMX 702. Home race for him next time out at Laguna Seca, the only American on the grid. And the full backing of the crowd behind him. I'm not sure if we're going to get another driver or not. And you have to wonder as well for CJBMX 702, if he hadn't had those two DNFs in the first 2 races, where would he be in the standings? Fogarty has joined us. Difficult race, an interesting race. Top 10 finish in the end though. Talk us through your race.
start, I got something up early on. I don't really have to catch back on
Was there much damage to the car?
that. Yeah, I had to bit. Yeah, I had 80% air on. So I pitted him, found myself second from the team, last place. So yeah, I'm quite satisfied to come back well in the race, but disappointed I got bumped up.
Yeah. Next week, Laguna Seca, great racetrack, couple of iconic corners. Is it all about trying to bounce back from a slightly difficult week?
Yeah, it's just a bit of
And bit of drama in the corkscrew maybe as well. Looking back at this one, what was it like driving in those conditions? Because of course the first 3 races of the year it's been sunny, beautiful weather, people sun lounging on the side of the track. Wasn't really tanning weather today. What was it like out there? Brilliant. And thanks for taking the time to come and talk to us. I think that's going to round us out for this evening. We've spoken to a couple of drivers there. Differing results. We hope you've enjoyed this stream tonight. It's been a really interesting race, really interesting weather as well here at Brands Hatch. We'll be back next week at Laguna Seca in the United States. It's going to be a great race. The stream will go up at 8 o'clock UK time. That's 2000 hours. And we'll have we'll have the 5th round of 6. And it could be a title deciding round. So until next week, it'll be goodbye from me, Callum Byrne, and goodbye from your cameraman, Matt Cooley, and we'll see you next week in Laguna Seca.